I really appreciate you coming down here today for this. The ballistic gear is not something that I ever thought would be something that the fire service would be concerned with. You know, that was always a cop thing throughout my entire career. But one of the things about the fire service is we're always evolving, we're always looking, we're analyzing data, we look at other people's events and some of the tragic events that we've seen around our country. And one thing that they all had in common is we noticed that people, I say we noticed, I mean the fire service in general, noticed that, you know, around the country, people who had survivable wounds were not being treated in time. So you had people dying needlessly who had survivable wounds. So we changed our response model a little bit. You know, firefighters are not experts on how to make a building more safe or more secure from the threat of violence, or how to stop someone with the intent to do harm. We're happy to turn to our police officer friends and trust their expertise in that. However, we are in the risk-reward business, and one of those things that we do through the tragic events of others is we've determined globally as a fire service that it is a reasonable risk to go in to start treating wounds under the protection of the police department. In other words, police, they stop the killing, the firefighters stop the dying. That's kind of the concept behind this. And as you can imagine, this is a new undertaking for the Springfield Fire Department, and we have to train with multiple police agencies to make sure that our intent becomes a reality, and that, you know, for something that we basically hope never happens in our community. We must provide our firefighters with the proper protective equipment. That equipment is what brings us here together today. Without our community partners and our own foreign fire insurance board, I am positive we would not be this close to our goal. And our goal is simple. It's just to be ready to respond to those tragic events that we hope never happen in our community. But besides the ballistic gear that you see to my right, we are also more response ready in a mass care environment. As any mass disaster can take us out of our norm. It can basically take a crew of firefighters and divide them apart. So firefighters who are used to working together as a team now find themselves treating people by themselves, working alone. And we have to have the equipment to do that. HSHS St. John's Hospital, HSHS Regional Response Coalition, Memorial Medical Center, and the Springfield Firefighters Foreign Fire Insurance Board have provided invaluable resources to our department. Through their financial support of our rescue task force, they have provided your first responders with the appropriate personal protective equipment and mass treatment capabilities. And again, we are a more safe community because of this effort. The frustrating part of a vest that we hope to never use and that should be stored, not worn every day. Police officers wear their vest every day, and it's easy for me to figure that those will wear out, that they have a shelf life. And that's one of the things that, you know, they don't really make that determination. So these will expire at some point. And when that happens, we'll have to figure it out. Usually what we do with stuff like that is we begin a replacement program, so we stretch that out so we don't have that high dollar cost at once. I would call this more of a gift. They've basically provided us with this equipment and have asked for very little in return.
So the gear that we're looking at today is basically a military grade personal protective equipment, ballistic protection. Driver engineer Eric Yeager simply putting on one of the ballistic vests. Also part of the equipment with the partners here in the community was the ballistic helmet. And then we're also looking at medical gear for mass care. And this medical gear was designed for the types of injuries that we would see in mass incidents, whether this were to be a mass shooting or whether this would be a school bus incident, something to do immediate care for the masses for life-saving efforts. And we'll open up the Rescue Task Force aid bags in a minute and show you some of the contents. But what Driver Engineer Yeager has on is simply the ballistic vest, the helmet, and then the medical gear that we work as a team, or what we consider as a company, that would go in with the protection of Springfield Police Department and other agencies. We would be enveloped in a safety envelope so that the police department could provide their protection, and so that the fire department could provide medical care.
I've pointed this out to really anybody that wants to listen. One of the challenges we have in this, so we have a hazmat team. We have 20 experts that we have trained to deal with a hazmat situation. All of our responders have an awareness. They know to stay out of upwind and out of the clouds. But we can't rely on a team, a pocket of experts when it comes to Rescue Task Force. This is a totally different concept, and it's a challenge. It's a real challenge to train 220 people to be proficient at something that when it happens is going to be a high stress situation. And that's what the difference between our pocket of experts, as I usually like to call them, and this Rescue Task Force. We have to have, because we don't know which engine, which shift, which part of town will show up on this. And as Battalion Chief Pettit pointed out correctly, this is more than just, the ballistic gear obviously are for the shooting incidents that we saw in schools across the United States, or the Jason Aldean concert in Vegas. This is, obviously that's for our protection. But the mass care capabilities, that could be anything. And that's something that we've always strived for, is to, do you put everything in a trailer? Well, where's that trailer located? How are you going to get it there? Because these events, almost universally, they're 10 minutes. They're 10 minutes and they're done. And then you've got the chaos that follows, and we know that chaos is going to follow. The more people that have access to those events, the hospitals are going to become overwhelmed, and it's not going to be because 20 ambulances are going to come there. It's going to be because people are getting thrown in the back of pickup trucks. And so that's kind of how we approach this. We've spread it out. Each rig, each apparatus, like the one you see behind me, will have that capability. What has to happen is it has to be a unified command with us and PD. Anytime there's a hostile event going on inside of a building, we are listening to them. We still will not enter that arena until they have deemed it safe, and we never enter the hot zone, which is where the police would consider where the bad guy is, where their only goal is to get us into those pockets of the areas where they've deemed it safe, and we go in as a team with them under their protection. No, there's 3 sets on each apparatus, Dave. So each apparatus, then that's why I say this is something different that we can't locate. I've got a hazmat vehicle 2-3 bays over. If there's a hazmat incident, probably anywhere in Sangamon County, that is the response vehicle. We can't use that model for this Rescue Task Force because this stuff has to be spread out. It has to be response ready.
I'm Brian Churchill. I'm the EMS and Emergency Management Facilitator at St. John's Hospital. And not only working at the hospital with EMS and Emergency Management, but we also head the coalition of healthcare organizations in the West Central Illinois area. All 13 hospitals within that region are part of our coalition, including our friends back here. And so one of the things that we've tried to use some of these coalition funds for is to support activities such as Stop the Bleed, such as Rescue Task Force, because as hospitals, we want to give our patients the best chance of survival from these types of events. And as the chief said, it's unfortunate that this has become kind of the norm, but we want to make sure that our EMS personnel are protected, and that our patients that are coming to any of our hospitals or our locations are given the best chance for survival. Thank you.
I'm Sarah Brown. I'm EMS Program Manager for Memorial. So in addition to Memorial being a large hospital in the Springfield and Sangamon County area, our EMS program is the sponsoring program for both Springfield Fire and Springfield Police Department's EMS divisions. So we're constantly working with those agencies on how do we adapt, how do we change our protocols, and Rescue Task Force has been a huge issue for us as far as the learning curve, the equipment curve, and how to best serve those patients.
Hi, my name is Chuck Keene. I'm the Emergency Preparedness Manager for Memorial Medical Center. Actually, it was myself and a retired battalion chief from the Springfield Fire Department that introduced this to the city about 2015, 2016, and started working towards this. I'm still heavily involved in that because of my position with Memorial now. I've been working now with Chief Moore and with the folks back here and putting the training program together for both police and fire. I spent about 13 years on the emergency response team, or SWAT, as medical officer for that. So to me, this is kind of like a pet project coming to fruition, because now it's actually taken root here. We've had fantastic support from Springfield Fire Department, Springfield Police Department, and then again, Saints and Memorial have really stepped up to the plate in supporting this project.
Hi there, my name is Tina Mullahan. I'm the trauma coordinator at St. John's Hospital. So our biggest passion project for our trauma team is the Stop the Bleed initiative. So that is a lot of the training that myself, as well as my friends behind me, have put a lot of time into in training different departments around this area, other areas, as well as the Springfield Fire Department. So that is teaching different techniques to stop those major bleeds in a bad situation.
My name is Eric Yeager. I'm a driver engineer on the Springfield Fire Department. I'm also the treasurer of the Springfield Foreign Fire Insurance Board. And we were the initial funding source to get it started when the program was still in its infancy. And then with the gracious help from the hospitals, they were able to take it from there and complete what we started and provide all the needed medical equipment and the rest of the body armor.
Eric's selling himself a little bit short too. Eric did thousands of hours of research on the particular items because there are several options out there. So Eric and Chief Pettit have both really done a lot of work for that.